Once upon a bustling city street, a young man strolled along, completely absorbed in the glow of his smartphone. His eyes were fixed on a video playing on his screen, a video he had made with care and posted on his YouTube channel. It was a gripping tale of an elderly bald man facing a life-and-death duel, a narrative that had captivated the online world. Ecstatic, the young man mumbled to himself, "This is it, finally a video that's going to skyrocket my channel to fame." He couldn't contain his joy as he imagined the advertising money that would soon come rolling in. Little did he realize that his excitement was steering him towards an unforeseen destiny. As he continued watching the video, his focus shifted entirely to the virtual duel on his screen. Oblivious to the world around him, he sauntered across the street without bothering to look both ways. The traffic lights changed, and the city sounds faded into the background. When our main character opened his eyes, he found himself standing in front of a lady who was sitting at a desk. Confused and disoriented, he mustered the courage to ask, "Am I dead?" The lady shot him an annoyed look, muttering to herself, "Why do you have to die at this time, idiot? I was about to finish my work." She sighed, glancing at John with a mix of frustration and resignation. "Well, since your short videos have brought joy to many people, your merit exceeds the limits. Now, you get the chance to be reborn and travel to another world." Our main character's eyes widened with excitement. "Really? Can I choose who I want to be reborn as?" The young lady rolled her eyes. "No, you can't. Just press the random draw button on the lottery machine over there." Eagerly, our main character approached the machine, pressing the button and waiting for his fate to be revealed. After a moment, a phrase appeared on the screen. "The #1 expert in the martial world, Demon Lord Awei." Overjoyed, John exclaimed, "Wow, I'm so lucky." The young lady, visibly unimpressed, instructed him to enter a nearby door. "The #1 expert in the martial world has arrived," our main character declared proudly as he stepped through the door. After our main character left, the young lady retrieved a slip of paper from the lottery machine. It read, "The inn-waiter Awei, casually killed by the #1 expert in the martial world, Demon Lord Awei." A puzzled expression crossed her face as she mumbled, "The system needs to be updated quickly. A little longer text and can't be fully seen." She sighed, contemplating the peculiar turn of events. In a distant place, the rain pouring heavily. Amidst this downpour, we discover a young man lying on the ground. Abruptly, he opens his eyes, surveying his surroundings and exclaiming, "What is this place?" This young man is none other than our hero, brimming with excitement about his rebirth into the body of the most powerful expert. However, the reality is far from his expectations. He is merely an inn-waiter named Awei. Our protagonist, Awei, joyfully declares, "Now, I've been reborn as the #1 expert in the martial world, Demon Lord Awei." Yet, his enthusiasm diminishes as he glances at his attire, complaining, "But the #1 person looks so shabby." Just as Awei voices his discontent, his attention is diverted towards a token embedded in the wet ground. Suddenly, 3 figures appear behind Awei, each tightly gripping a sword. One of them, glancing nervously in all directions, remarks, "Strange. The aura of Demon Lord Awei should be nearby. Why is there no trace?" Just then, Awei, wearing a surprised expression, questions them, "Are you looking for me?" Upon spotting the token in our main hero's hand, the trio exclaims loudly, "The demon sect's order, it's him!" Anger radiates from them as they express their disdain. What a demon lord! He even changed his appearance! As they gaze at Awei, they sense the oppressive aura of the great demon king emanating from him. They shout, "Indeed, this utterly unmistakable bloodthirsty aura. You are cruel and bloodthirsty. How many people have you harmed for that technique?" In their minds, a vivid scene unfolds of the demon king slaughtering countless individuals. Following the accusation, someone remarks, "You have been infected by the 1,000 insect sect's poison. Your strength is no match for what it once was." Awei's face turns pale upon hearing this revelation. He exclaims, "Infected by a poison! No wonder I had to disguise myself as a commoner." Following that, the 3 warriors point their swords towards Awei, declaring, "Today we're determined to take your head." Upon hearing their proclamation, A sly smile creeps across Awei's face. "Just you guys?" he retorts, bursting into laughter. "What gave you the illusion that only 3 people can defeat me?" Muttering to himself, Awei continues, "Although I've been poisoned, I'm still the top martial artist in the world." However, the reality proves to be far from his expectations. In truth, he is nothing more than a side character with a combat power value of 0. As these words escape his lips, the 3 warriors exchanged bewildered glances, uncertainty flickering in their eyes. One of them, wearing a serious expression, says, "With this kind of momentum, we can only use that move." The tips of their swords touch together, and in unison they shout, "Formation! Golden Saint Sword!" Suddenly, a colossal golden sword materializes in the sky, capturing the attention of a brilliant lightning bolt. The lightning hurtles toward the massive golden sword as if meeting its soulmate, then merges seamlessly with it. Simultaneously, Awei extends his finger towards the 3 warriors and turns his back to them, uttering, "Although I still don't know how to use this technique, but now I'm the little handsome. I just need to rely on the instincts of this body." In an instant, the 3 warriors are struck by lightning, their screams of pain echoing through the air. As Awei opens his eyes, a look of shock washes over his face. Before him, all that remains are ashes, the once formidable warriors reduced to nothing. He can't believe his eyes, murmuring, "Is this the power of the #1 expert in the world? This is too amazing." The next day, Awei decides to head to the nearby city, marveling at the bustling atmosphere. "It's really bustling here. Is this the martial world?" he wonders aloud. Suddenly, a young girl's voice pierced the air, exclaiming, "Mother, look! Is that the demon lord's Awei?" The words hung heavy in the air, sending a chill down the spine of Awei, who stood frozen in his place. His expression twisted in fear, sweat beading on his face as he muttered to himself, "I have been discovered. How is this possible? Didn't I change my appearance?" His heart raced as panic gripped him, his mind racing for a solution. "What should I do?" he muttered to himself while gritting his teeth, his thoughts spinning. "I can only let everyone here know." His words trailed off as his eyes caught sight of a poster on the wall, a picture of the real Demon Lord Ziwei, described as an extremely dangerous individual. A wave of relief washed over Awei as he realized the people were not referring to him. "Fortunately, I changed my appearance," he muttered, the tension slowly easing from his body. Just then, a young kid calling out for him, "Awei!" With a friendly smile, he asks our hero, "What are you doing here?" Confusion clouds Awei's face as he doesn't recognize this little kid. As they arrive at their destination, the little kid says to Awei, "I didn't expect you to be so unlucky. Not only did you fall off a cliff, but you also lost your memory. You've been missing for 2 days. Everyone thought you went back to your hometown." Upon entering a room, the little kid says, "This is your room. You should change into clean clothes first. The chief is getting impatient." Inside the room, Awei grabs 3 basic cultivation techniques from the table. As he examines the books, he mutters to himself, "Is this my room?" After a moment of contemplation, he remarks, "It seems like this is my fake identity. The 36 stratagems strategy of deceiving the heavens is quite high, actually. It's too high." Awei gazes at the token in his hand, contemplating the complexities of his identity he now possesses. "I need to quickly become familiar with this identity," he says with determination. Following that, Awei finds himself summoned to the kitchen by the chef. With a puzzled expression, he grabs a chicken by its wings, uncertain of what's happening. "What's going on?" he asks, confusion evident in his voice. With a serious expression, the bald chef points his finger at him and says, "What's the matter? Did you hit your head so hard that you can't even slaughter a chicken?" His tone harsh and unforgiving. Wei's lips curl into a small smile as he hears the chef's words. "Slaughter a chicken. I see," he murmurs to himself, a realization dawning. "Is it to conceal the original bloodthirsty aura on me?" With newfound understanding, he prepares to carry out the task at hand. But before he can begin, the bald chef's voice booms in his ears, filled with anger and frustration. "Why don't you get to work right away? Be careful. I'll tell the boss to deduct your salary for this month," he threatens, his patience wearing thin. Such bad luck. Skipping work in the morning was bad enough, and now you're not even working properly. What can you do besides slaughtering chickens? You can't even pluck a chicken feather properly. You're always messing around with your useless techniques. Is that all you do? If you could learn something, even a mother pig could practice light martial arts. I'm talking to you, are you deaf? The chef, feeling increasingly frustrated by Awei's apparent disregard, becomes angrier. However, our hero, incensed by the chef's words, channels his anger into slaughtering the chicken. The swift and precise movements make the bald chef terrified, who nervously asks, "What's the matter?" With a wicked smile, Awei turns to face the bald chef, his eyes gleaming with suppressed rage. "Is there anything else you'd like to explain?" he asks, his voice dripping with sarcasm. The scene shifts to a previous battle that unfolded just hours ago. The real Demon King stands amidst a sea of carnage, his extraordinary aura enveloping him as he laughs hysterically. "A group of ants!" he shouts loudly, his voice echoing across the battlefield. Before him lie the lifeless bodies of countless cultivators, victims of his merciless massacre. Amidst the chaos, a beautiful lady, her form battered and bruised from the fight, speaks up with determination. "Reinforcements are coming soon. Today we must stop the Demon Lord's Awei," she declares, her voice tinged with urgency. Upon hearing this, the Demon Lord takes out a token from his sleeve, a sinister smile playing on his lips as he infuses it with his spiritual power. Realizing his intentions, the beautiful lady screams, "Not good! It's the demon sex order. He's going to pass on orders to his subordinates. Stop him!" Before they can take action, the Demon Lord sends the token flying with incredible power, shouting, "Stop me! Just you guys!" The evil smile on his face reveals the malicious intent that propels his actions. Meanwhile, in a different location, the original owner of Awei's body stands before a freshly dug grave, his heart heavy with grief. "Poor Dobbin," he murmurs, his voice laden with sorrow. Even his bones were cleaned by the guest. With a solemn expression, he says to the departed soul, "Promise me, don't become a chicken in your next life." As he prepares to head back to his house, he is struck by the token thrown by the Demon King, propelling him off the cliff. As he falls, the original owner of Awei's body, on the verge of losing consciousness, murmurs to himself with tears in his eyes and blood coming from his mouth, "The wind today. There is no need to rush like this, right?" And there, at the cliff, the original owner of Awei's body meets his untimely demise. Back to our protagonist, who has clearly provoked the bald chef with his bold behavior. The chef is left bewildered, muttering to himself in frustration. What's the deal with this kid? Wasn't he acting all timid just a few days ago? He wonders aloud, his confusion evident. Observing Awei as he wipes the blood from his face, the bald chef's irritation reaches its peak. I've been in the underworld for so many years, and this kid dares to act up in front of me, he exclaims, his voice booming with authority. Do you know who I am? Don't play games with me here. I can turn you into a dish too. Awei, unfazed by the chef's threats, regards him with a calm demeanor. This chef may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's got some muscle. He's barely good enough to be a punching bag, he acknowledges quietly to himself. Fuming with anger, the bald man forcefully slams his hand onto the table, a loud thud reverberating through the kitchen. In a fit of rage, he seizes a large fish, gripping it as an improvised weapon. He lunges at our protagonist, attacking with the fish, and shouts, "What the hell is that look on your face?" However, Awei effortlessly dodges the swinging fish, displaying remarkable agility. Seizing the moment, he grabs the knife previously used to slaughter the chicken. With a serious expression and a commanding presence, he declares, "Let me test if you really are worthy." Perceiving the unusual expression on Awei's face, the bald man becomes frightened and asks, What are you doing?" Suddenly, the bald man loses his footing, slipping and falling on the ground. In that critical moment, Awei swiftly plunges the knife into the wall, mere inches from the bald chef's neck. The kitchen falls into an eerie silence, broken only by the terrified screams of the bald chef. Facing the bald chef with a sinister gleam in his eyes, Awei poses a chilling question. Do you know what my favorite dish is? Memories of a past life flash before him, reminiscing about someone cooking. He tells the bald chef with eerie calmness, "First, Prepare the ingredients. Coat them with a layer of starch, then sprinkle some spices, rub and marinate them well. After that, gently pan-fry them with butter. And don't forget, presentation is key. With a menacing smile, Awei places his knife dangerously close to the bald chef and reveals, "By the way, the main ingredient is beef from here." As drool escapes the corner of his mouth, Awei eagerly asks, "May I have a taste?" The sight of Awei's disturbing enthusiasm sends the bald chef into a panic, screaming and sobbing uncontrollably. Observing the chef's utter despair, Awei couldn't hide his disappointment. He whispered to himself, "I haven't even begun, and you've already succumbed to fear. Employing such a cowardly minion diminishes the prestige of our demon sect." Watching the chef continue to sob on the floor, Awei expressed his disinterest. "This isn't entertaining at all." Suddenly, his keen senses detected an unusual presence. Turning around, he locked eyes with three young men who seemed to have stumbled upon the scene by accident. Their expressions are a mix of fear and fascination. "What's wrong? Something's up?" he inquires. The trio, visibly unnerved and sweating profusely, scramble for words. No problem," they stammer in unison, each eager to divert attention away from themselves. I need to clean the tables," one mumbles, looking anywhere but at Awei. "I'll clean the floor," declares another, his voice barely above a whisper. Their attempts to escape the scrutiny are palpable, and Awei can't help but sigh at the sight. "Is this place full of misfits like this?" Awei mutters under his breath, a rhetorical question hanging in the air. He shakes his head, half in disbelief, half in amusement. "If it's not too much to ask, can I get someone obedient for a change?" he says, more to himself than to the nervous trio attempting to fade into the background. Just then, a gentle tug on his clothes draws Awei's attention downwards. To his surprise, the young kid he had encountered earlier on the street now stands before him, gazing up with eyes wide with unadulterated admiration. This child, unlike the others, does not flinch at Awei's imposing presence. Instead, he looks at Awei as if he were witnessing the incarnation of a legendary hero, his gaze filled with awe and excitement. As the night draped its cloak over the mountain, our protagonist made his way back to his humble abode, nestled at the foot of the mountain. Upon entering his modest dwelling, he set about tidying his room. Finally, as the last item finds its place, he sinks into his bed with a contented sigh. A smile plays upon his lips as he whispers to himself, "Finally, I finished work." The weight of the day's responsibilities begins to lift, replaced by a sense of accomplishment. Yet even in his moment of relaxation, weariness creeps upon him like a silent thief. With a tired yawn, he murmurs to himself, "I'm so exhausted." The demands of training in martial arts and delving into the mysteries of the dark sect have left him drained, yet he remains steadfast in his resolve. With a fond recollection, he reflects on the encounter with a young child earlier in the day. "Besides, I found a promising talent today," he whispers softly, a spark of pride igniting within him. When it comes to martial arts, one must start from a young age. Teaching them from childhood is the only way to ensure they're reliable. Yet amidst his contemplation, a sudden interruption breaks the silence. The growl of his stomach reminds him of his neglected hunger, prompting him to rouse from his bed with renewed purpose. Stretching his limbs with determination, he declares, "Let's grab a late-night snack, then I'll go talk to that kid." Far from our protagonist's mountain abode, the story takes a darker turn. The young child, the one who had caught Awei's attention, finds himself at the mercy of an unexpected antagonist, Chen Wujin, a seemingly ordinary innkeeper with a malevolent agenda. A man of average build, his actions seem strangely disproportionate to his seemingly mundane profession. Standing over the dazed and disoriented child, Chen Wujin remarks, "Lost his memory? I think his brain might have taken a beating." Leaning in, he places his legs close to the little kid's head and questions, "Aren't you close to that guy? An orphan and a loser. You two make quite the pair. He even dared to provoke that chef, who happens to be Zhao's buddy. Wait until Zhao gets back. Let's see what fate has in store for him." Chen Wujin, with a peculiar expression on his face, contemplates the situation. Why not use this opportunity to help out that chef? He muses aloud. As he envisions the unfolding events in his mind, a creepy smile forms on his face. And when Zhao comes back, I'll score some points. I'm a genius, aren't I? He muttered to himself with a sinister smile. Amidst this twisted conversation, Chen Wujin turns his attention back to the boy, his voice sharp with authority. You? Find a way to get that loser out here for me. Suddenly, the tense atmosphere is shattered by the sound of the door being smashed open, leaving Chen Wujin and the little kid in shock. The silhouette of a figure steps through the broken doorway, the shards of wood scattered across the floor. This unexpected intruder, carrying an aura of calm authority despite the chaos, is none other than our protagonist, Awei. Enough talking, enough listening, Awei declares boldly, the dumpling still in his mouth, his voice muffled yet brimming with authority. Then he declares with a playful grin, "Next in the plot, the protagonist enters the stage." Seeing that the person who approaches is Awei, Chen Wujin's heart swells with excitement. His face breaks into a wide smile as he locks eyes with our protagonist. "You dare to come to me on your own," he exclaims, a note of surprise mingling in his voice. Under his breath, he mutters to himself, "Great opportunity. I'll show my disciple what I'm capable of." His eyes sparkle with the thrill of the challenge that lies ahead. Simultaneously, Awei, our fearless protagonist, is consumed by thoughts not unlike those of his opponent. A peculiar smile plays across his lips as he declares, "Great opportunity. I'll beat him up and curry favor with Zhao's shopkeeper." In his mind, he paints a vivid picture of the aftermath of his victory, imagining the respect and admiration he will earn, not just from the shopkeeper, but from all who witness his triumph. He envisions the little kid's eyes, wide with awe and respect, looking up to him as a hero. This vision fuels his resolve, igniting a fire within him that refuses to be quenched. In this moment, both Awei and Chen Wujin are consumed by a shared determination, though their goals diverge. Each man, lost in his thoughts, mutters under his breath, their faces etched with resolve. "This kind of good fortune, I absolutely won't let it slip away," they vow, unaware of the other's echoing sentiment. As the tension between them mounts, Chen Wujin raises his right hand to his forehead in a dramatic gesture. "I advise you to be sensible," he begins, his voice laced with a mix of warning and opportunity. "If you kneel down and apologize, I might consider—" But before he can finish his sentence, he is startled by Awei's unexpected response. Ignoring Chen Wujin's attempt at intimidation, Awei turns his attention to the little kid by his side. With a gentle pat on the head, he offers words of reassurance. "Stay back and wait for me obediently," he instructs, his voice steady and calm. The little kid, sensing the seriousness of the moment, nods in agreement, his actions reflecting his trust and admiration for Awei. As Chen Wujin witnesses Awei's blatant disregard, frustration boils within him. Gritting his teeth, he lashes out, accusing, "How dare you look down on me after losing your memory? Stop pretending in front of me!" His words hang heavy in the air. Awei, seemingly unfazed, glances at Chen Wujin with a troll face, further fueling the flames of anger. In a fit of rage, Chen Wujin charges towards our protagonist, aiming a furious punch at his face. However, Awei effortlessly dodges the attack. Seizing the moment, Awei closes the distance, grabbing Chen Wujin's outstretched hand. With a swift motion, he throws him to the ground, leaving Chen Wujin visibly shocked and disoriented. The unexpected turn of events has left him grappling with the reality of his defeat. As Awei rises, a joyful glint in his eyes, he exclaims, "Feels good. I've been wanting to do this for a long time after all those fight videos that I've been watching." He then gazes at his hands, acknowledging the limitations of his current abilities. "Although I can't casually use those flashy techniques yet," With the eternal energy in my body, my fists and kicks are unmatched by anyone. Meanwhile, Chen Wujin, struggling to get back on his feet, overhears Awei's words. An unsettling image manifests in his mind, a demon with dark aura, red eyes, and a wicked smile. Awei's cryptic statements echo in Chen Wujin's mind, raising unsettling questions about the true nature of his adversary. In a moment of introspection, Awei voices concerns about controlling his newfound strength. But I'm still not familiar enough with this body. This won't do. If I don't control my strength and end up killing someone, my identity might be exposed. It's troublesome. Chen Wujin, eavesdropping on Awei's inner thoughts, is gripped by a sudden revelation. The pieces fall into place as he mutters to himself. What is he talking about? I get it. I've seen this plot in manga before. This person definitely has a more mysterious identity. As our protagonist, Chen Wujin, turns his head to assess the aftermath of his strike, a look of astonishment flashes across his face. This guy, didn't he just get knocked down by me directly? He mutters to himself, incredulous at the turn of events. Little does he know Awei, who fancies himself as the demon lord, possesses a combat strength of 0, lost in his own delusions of grandeur. On the other side, Chen Wujin, with a combat strength of 10, finds himself thrust into his first real battle. With sweat dripping down his brow and a panicking look in his eyes, he stammers. Who are you exactly? The question hangs heavy in the air, laden with uncertainty and a hint of fear. In response, Awei's expression darkens as he seizes Chen Wujin by the neck, pushing him against the wall. What did you just say? Speak! How did you figure out my identity? Demands Awei, with an intensity that sends shivers down Chen Wujin's spine. Struggling to catch his breath under Awei's relentless hold, Chen Wujin can only manage a desperate thought. How can I talk when you're choking me? Following that, Awei's hand instinctively reaches up to his chin as he contemplates the situation, marveling at the unexpected strength of his opponent. Although this kid is a bit weak, he muses to himself, he can sense my identity. Not only that, he can withstand being thrown by me with internal energy added. As Awei releases his grip, Chen Wujin coughs and gasps for air. In the midst of his own discomfort, he mutters to himself, Crazy, this guy is crazy. Since you have found out, I have no choice. Awei speaks with a chilling serenity that belies the storm about to be unleashed. Without warning, Awei strikes. His palm connects with Chen Wujin's back with precision and force, sending a shockwave of pain deep into Chen Wujin's backbone. The impact is not just physical, it leaves a mark on Chen Wujin's clothes, a testament to the power behind Awei's strike. Chen Wujin, overwhelmed by the sudden and intense pain, collapses onto the floor. For a brief moment, his consciousness flickers, teetering on the edge of oblivion, as if his soul itself has been jolted from his body. With a calm and confident demeanor, Awei declares, The move that hit you is called the Endless Bone-Melting Palm. Awei's eyes, unwavering and piercing, lock on to Chen Wujin. If you get hit by this move, you'll die in 7 days because your bones will turn to mush. The weight of Awei's words lands on Chen Wujin like a sledgehammer. His face, once flushed with the heat of battle, now drains of color, leaving him pale and stricken. Young man. Awei speaks with a voice that carries both wisdom and compassion. Are you willing to die like this? His words echo, punctuated by the gravity of the situation. A great person once said, To awaken means to face death and then embrace a new light and future. I can offer you another choice. Deep within the forest, bathed in the dappled sunlight filtering through the thick foliage, a young girl moves with remarkable agility. She leaps effortlessly from one tree branch to another. As she lands on a sturdy branch, a sigh escapes her lips. This beautiful girl is Jia Yiye, her spirit as untamed as the forest that surrounds her. Stretching her arms overhead, she laments, I'm so bored. I blame my dad. He always gives me these boring tasks. She places her hands on her waist, her frustration evident. He says things aren't peaceful lately and tells me not to wander around. It's just because some remnants of a demonic cult escaped nearby, and he thinks I'll cause trouble. A malicious gleam flickers in Xie Yi's eyes as she speaks. Once I help him catch those demonic cult remnants, let's see if he dares to still look down on me. She opens a scroll in her hand, her curiosity piqued. I wonder how formidable these remnants are to make him so scared. To her surprise, the contents of the scroll are not what she expected. Instead of information about the demonic cult remnants, she finds a portrait of a woman with extraordinary beauty. Xie Yi, momentarily stunned, falls silent, her eyes fixed on the captivating image before her. The revelation sparks a fire within Xie Yi, igniting a storm of anger within her. With a sudden burst of frustration, she tears the scroll into two parts, her voice sharp with resentment. Why does this woman's art style look so different? Might as well let these guys be wiped out by the demonic people. Suddenly, Xie Yi's attention is abruptly seized by a curious sight. There, on a nearby tree, lounges a person who becomes the focal point of her curiosity. Our protagonist, Awei. Beside him, a little kid, his eyes glowing with innocence and curiosity, seemingly captivated by the hero in front of him. The little kid, with an air of vulnerability, turns to Awei and inquires with shining eyes, "Brother Awei, is what you said true? If I learn Kung Fu, no one will bully me anymore?" His words are laced with hope, seeking reassurance from the hero who seems to exude an aura of strength. Awei, still reclining on the tree, takes a nonchalant bite of an apple before responding with confidence. "Of course. Look how effortlessly I dealt with that delinquent who bullied you. Not only won't be bullied, but you'll also be admired by everyone." As he continues to chew the apple, a hint of self-awareness creeps in, and he mutters to himself, although it seems more like being pursued than admired. The little kid, hanging on Awei's every word, mentions something he heard from his sister. "My sister told me that you have to kowtow to a master." In a moment of sincerity, the little one proceeds to kowtow to Awei. However, his earnestness inadvertently results in a crack forming on the ground, leaving Awei dumbfounded by the unexpected display of strength from such a small figure. With unabated excitement, the little kid declares, "I want to become powerful, so please teach me, master." Meanwhile, upon Chen Wujin's return to his home, his faithful maid, whose devotion and concern for her master were as evident as the beauty that graced her features, approached with both news and nurturing intentions. "You returned quite late today," she observed, her voice carrying the warmth of a caring confidant. "And a letter from the capital arrived for you." Chen Wujin, whose thoughts were evidently elsewhere, could barely muster interest in the communiqué from the distant powers. "What's going on in the capital that they need me for?" he replied, a tinge of annoyance in his voice. "I don't have time to deal with those old guys now." With a loving expression, the maid insists, "Then let me help you change your clothes. Your waist ailment still needs medication." However, her attention is suddenly drawn to a mark on her master's clothing, causing her to scream in shock. Tears stream down her face as she confronts Chen Wujin with an angry expression. "Who hit you so hard? He even left a mark with his palm. Not even mosquitoes dare to bite my young master. This is too much." Chen Wujin, unfazed by the concern, responds curtly. "No need for medication," he declared, a newfound resolve hardening his features. It was as if the incident that left the mark had also left a profound impact on his psyche. "The waist ailment has troubled me for many years. Even the doctors in the capital were helpless." He paused, a realization dawning upon him. Unexpectedly, this person healed it with just a fallen palm strike. In reality, no physician had dared to treat his ailment, Yet here he was, inadvertently cured by an encounter most would deem unfortunate. As he pondered the event, Chen Wujin couldn't help but attribute motive to the seemingly random act of violence. He did it on purpose, for a reason, he mused, his mind racing through possibilities. Either to use me or turn me into bones in 7 days. With a sense of urgency, Chen Wujin retrieves his clothes from the maid and declares, "I'll go talk to him." As the night descended, casting shadows over the tranquil forest, our protagonist, Awei, found himself in the role of a mentor, imparting his martial wisdom to his eager disciple. With a focused gaze, he extends his hands and commands, "Focus! Gather energy!" With precision, he demonstrates the second style of his martial art, explaining to his cute disciple, "Martial arts are about the 8 methods. It's all about internal and external unity, form, and spirit." Impressed by the progress of his young student, he offers words of praise. "You're doing well." Despite his satisfaction, fatigue begins to weigh on him, prompting him to retreat to his favorite resting spot beside a sturdy tree. Turning to his disciple, he urges, "Practice it again. I'll think about which martial art suits you." Resting his hand upon his chin, he drifts into contemplation. Speaking of which, I haven't finished studying those martial arts from the demonic cult token. Awei, with a straw between his lips, recalls the ominous mention of the Lao Shi technique. The name alone sends a chill down his spine, hinting at untold dangers. "If you continue practicing that martial art," he trails off, haunted by memories of his past deeds. The faces of 3 unfortunate souls flash before his eyes, their accusations of cruelty and tyranny weighing heavily upon him. His complexion pales, anxiety etching lines upon his face as he questions, why do villains always feel the need to announce their evil deeds to the world? Can't they feign goodness on the surface and secretly sow discord? He's making my current situation quite embarrassing. As Awei's worries began to dissipate upon seeing his disciple's earnest efforts, a new resolve took hold. "Let's start with a basic martial art for this kid," he thought to himself, recognizing the importance of laying a strong foundation. With a look of joy spreading across his face, Awei called out to his disciple, his voice filled with excitement, "Hey, handsome! Come here! Your master will teach you kung fu!" The young disciple looked up in surprise, his face lighting up at the unexpected praise. "You're calling me handsome?" he questioned, a mix of disbelief and delight in his voice. "And where did you get this?" With an anxious smile, Awei responded, trying to instill a sense of tradition and mystery. "In the martial arts world, we don't use real names. You'll understand this later," he assured, hoping to spark curiosity and commitment in his young apprentice. Meanwhile, Jia Yi, the beautiful girl who had been observing them from a distance, couldn't help but let out a sigh of boredom. "I thought they were suspicious, but I didn't realize they were 2 idiots. Doing horse stance in the middle of the night, really?" she mumbled under her breath. As she continued to watch, her critique grew sharper. With their current appearance, they probably can't even be considered martial novices. Yet, despite her dismissive words, a hint of responsibility crept into her voice. "Well, let's keep an eye on them, so they won't be bitten by wolves." Awei, with a puzzled look etched upon his features, gazes intently at the ancient scroll cradled gently in his hands. The scroll, a legacy of the Lao Shi technique, carries the wisdom of generations, a testament to the relentless pursuit of martial excellence. "I wonder how far they progressed in that Lao Shi technique and how they will continue to cultivate," he muses, the weight of responsibility pressing upon his shoulders. Just then, the tranquil air is pierced by the enthusiastic voice of his disciple, breaking the spell of contemplation. "Master!" the young voice calls out, brimming with excitement and the thirst for knowledge. Awei turns, his surprise evident as he listens to his disciple's proclamation. "I finished reading," the young one declares, a spark of determination in his eyes. "So fast!" Awei can't help but express his astonishment at the disciple's swift comprehension of the book. The seeds of potential, he realizes, are blooming far sooner than he had anticipated. Eager to test the waters of his newfound understanding, the disciple poses the question that hangs in the air between them, charged with the promise of untold power. "Can I try it?" With a nod and a gentle pat on the head, Awei gives his blessing. "Of course," he replies, his voice tinged with the pride of a master witnessing the growth of his pupil. The little kid closes his eyes, focusing intently as he gathers his spiritual energy. Then, with a loud scream that echoes through the valley, he unleashes a punch into the air. A beam of light, pure and incandescent, bursts forth from his fist. Cutting through the air with incredible speed and power, it shreds the trees in its path, singes the feathers of birds caught unaware, and continues its relentless journey towards Awei's house. The impact is catastrophic. The house, once a sturdy edifice of 100 HP, now teeters on the brink of collapse, a mere 0.001 HP standing between it and oblivion. Both master and disciple stand in shocked silence, their jaws dropping at the unexpected display of power. Fear briefly crosses Awei's face as he contemplates the sheer strength of the basic martial art he has taught. But soon, pride replaces fear, and he regains his composure, turning to his disciple with a look of approval. "Well done," he exclaims, his voice a mixture of awe and excitement. "Truly deserving of being my martial art. It's unbelievably awesome." The encouragement from his master fills the little kid with pride and determination. "Work harder," Awei continues, a playful smirk on his lips. "Although, you won't surpass me. Being the second best in the world should be achievable." This statement, meant as both a challenge and a badge of honor, ignites a fire in the young kid's heart. Yeah, the cute kid responds with a vigorous nod, his youthful face alight with resolve. "I'll practice diligently and won't let you down." Meanwhile, Xia Yi, who had been silently observing the spectacle, finds herself caught in a whirlwind of shock and disbelief. Her eyes, wide open, reflect the chaos within her as her face turns pale and blue. Unable to comprehend the scene, she turns around in desperate hope that the destruction she witnessed is but a figment of her imagination. Alas, reality stares back at her. The tree lies shattered, its branches scattered like memories torn asunder. Xia Yi, her mouth agape, can only mutter to herself, "Who the hell are these two?" As Xia Yi watches them heading to their house, she mutters to herself, reaffirming her father's wisdom. "My father was right. Masters are hiding in plain sight among the common people. How could I be so blind as to not recognize these two as anything but fools?" Her eyes then narrow, focusing intently on the little disciple who had just demonstrated power beyond his age. As the boy turns to his master with a request, "Master, I also want to move out and live on my own," Xia Yi can't help but marvel. "This kid's punch is so powerful." Looking at the man beside the kid, Xia speculates, "As his master, he must be even more extraordinary." Just then, the man, our unassuming protagonist, replies to his disciple, "It's possible." He then casually points with his thumb toward the house behind him, adding, "But this place is a bit small." Suddenly, his thumb lightly touches the house, which, unbeknownst to onlookers, has only 0.001 HP, shattering it into pieces. The scene leaves Xia Yi dumbfounded, her eyes wide with disbelief. The destruction of the house with such a minimal effort was beyond anything she had ever imagined possible. Just then, a voice pierced through her shock. "Oh my God!" exclaimed Chen Wujin, his voice tinged with disbelief. He stood beside her, his eyes wide with astonishment and his jaw hanging open in sheer amazement. Xia Yi, still in a state of shock, utters, "Where did this guy come from?" The focus shifts back to the protagonist, who is now examining his hand with a mix of surprise and contemplation. "Oops, did I fail to contain my power?" he muses aloud, hinting at an unintentional display of his might. Beside him, his disciple, a young man with the eagerness of youth painted across his face, looks up with admiration. "Master, you are amazing!" he exclaims, his voice a mixture of awe and excitement. It is clear that the disciple views the protagonist not just as a teacher but as a source of inspiration, someone who defies the limits of what is considered possible. Following that, Awei puts his hand on his chin, thinking deeply. "Impressive indeed, but tonight we might have to sleep on the streets," he remarks. Just then, a sudden commotion disrupts the tranquility. "Master! Master!" It's Chen Wujin, clinging desperately to the leg of our protagonist. With a wide grin on his face, he whispers to himself in awe, "He's a master! A true master! No matter where he comes from, he's a master!" His gaze shifts to the destroyed house, and he marvels. With just a light tap, he can shatter a house. What level is this? King of martial arts? Or even a saint? As long as I cling to his thigh, I'm sure I can make it onto the assassin list too. Awei, now struggling to free himself from Chen Wujin's grasp, protests, "I've never taken in such a big disciple, let go of me." But Chen Wujin persists. "It was my mistake before. Didn't you ask me to choose?" Determination gleams in his eyes as he declares, "I want to follow you. I can be very useful." Curious, Awei asks, "What are you good for?" "I have money. I can help Master fix the house," Chen Wujin offers eagerly. Awei, not one to be swayed easily, refuses his offer, a hint of irritation in his voice. "There are many ways to insult people. Don't use money to insult me." Under his breath, he mutters, "How much money can a small innkeeper have? If it weren't for seeing him withstand a beating, I definitely wouldn't." The next day, as the sun begins its ascent over the village, Awei, the protagonist, makes his way to the site of his once destroyed house. Anticipation lingers in the air as he approaches, only to be met with an astonishing sight. His eyes widen in shock as he beholds the transformation. His humble dwelling, once in ruins, now stands tall and majestic, a grand two-story building with a roof adorned in gleaming gold. Chen Wujin, wearing a proud grin, approaches him with a question. "Master, how is it? There's a daily withdrawal limit at the bank, so we could only decorate it in a simple way." Awei, still in disbelief, mutters to himself, "Simple decoration." Confusion etches his face, and he can't help but voice his thoughts. With so much money, with so much wealth, why did you come to an inn to work as a waiter? Chen Wujin, with a gleam in his eye, begins to explain. "In this world, strength is paramount. Those who practice martial arts are truly formidable. They say Yuhang Town hides many talented individuals, and Mr. Zhao, the shopkeeper, is renowned on the assassins list." Continuing his explanation, Chen Wujin adds, "Master, you're so skilled, yet you've come here to work as a waiter. They say true greatness is concealed within the ordinary. What's the use of being a worthless person with only money?" These words strike a chord within Awei as he recalls his previous life, where he aspired to be exactly that, a person with wealth but devoid of purpose. Disappointment clouds his expression as he confesses, "But financial power is also a form of ability. Why don't you just use money directly to deal with him?" Chen Wujin, now wearing a perplexed expression, tries to comprehend Awei's perspective. The scene shifts to a gorgeous woman, elegantly poised as she presents a stack of money to the man beside her. Her voice, smooth and confident, breaks the silence. "Is this enough?" The man's face lights up with delight as he gazes at the money. "You are truly generous," he exclaims. "I'll send you the title deed tomorrow." As he accepts the money, The man mutters to himself, "I can't believe someone would pay 10 times the price of the inn. People are foolish and have too much money." His steps quicken as he makes his way to the door, a smirk playing on his lips. "Anyway, this inn wasn't originally mine." His laughter echoes through the empty room, a testament to his newfound fortune. No sooner does the man depart than the beautiful lady turns, a gleam of success in her eyes. She addresses an unseen figure in the shadows. "Young master, it's all taken care of." From the shadows, a figure emerges, the mastermind behind this grand scheme. It is Chen Wujin, who had ingeniously orchestrated the purchase of the inn through his maid, employing wealth as his weapon in a world where strength usually prevails. With a look of pride and satisfaction, he declares, "So, master's financial ability really works wonders." His voice carries a note of triumph. Lost in his thoughts, Chen Wujin fails to notice Xia Yi passing by him. Inside the newly acquired inn, Awei, our protagonist, studies a scroll on the table that details the geographical layout of the region. Is the state where Yuhong Town is located called Yuhong State? Adjacent to it is Gusu, and a bit further away is Zhongyuan. He muses aloud, contemplating the implications of the inn's strategic location. As he ponders, he mutters to himself, "Surprisingly, Chen Wujin actually bought this place directly. Now, the development of power will be much more convenient." Just as Awei absorbs the information, a knock interrupts his thoughts. He turns to find a beautiful lady, Xia Yi from the Iron Gate, requesting a meeting. As they sit inside the Drunken Flower Pavilion, Awei senses a discomforting atmosphere, particularly with the waiter serving their food. Xia Yi, nonchalantly observing Awei's unease, remarks, "This is the newest service at Drunken Flower Pavilion. Don't you like it?" Awei, feeling uncomfortable, responds, "The service has a kind of beauty that ignores the life and death of the readers. The dishes are ready, so I won't be polite." As Awei lifts his cup to drink, Xia Yi drops a bombshell. "I'm the daughter of the Iron Gate's sect master, and I already know your identity." Startled, Awei spits out his drink. Xia Yi, with a serious demeanor, continues, "If I'm not mistaken, you must be—" In that moment, Awei's expression shifts, and he mutters to himself, "I have to kill her." However, to his surprise, she remarks, "A transcendent expert hidden in the mortal world, right?" Awei, feeling a weight lifted off his shoulders, replies, "Miss, you are joking. As you can see, I'm just an ordinary man." Then he mutters to himself, "I knew it. My disguise couldn't possibly be seen through again. The Iron Gate should be the government offices, right? It's a rival force." Hearing Awei's words, Xia Yi, with a smile on her face, mutters to herself, "Indeed. Just as my father said, true experts are often very modest. I presume you also know that with the destruction of the demonic sect, remnants of the demonic cult are scattered everywhere," she calmly asserts. The weight of her words strikes Awei like an unexpected blow, causing him to spit the food from his mouth. "What does that have to do with me?" he questions, a mix of surprise and concern etched across his face. However, Xia Yi, undeterred, wears an expression of both excitement and seriousness. "Of course it does," she declares loudly, emphasizing the gravity of the situation. "The rise and fall of the world is everyone's responsibility. Now that Iron Gate is short-handed, capturing the remnants of the cult is urgent." Awei, still in the process of eating, listens intently to her words. Xia Yi, with an air of determination, addresses Awei directly. "I would like to ask for your assistance in capturing these remnants together with me." Her words hang in the air, creating a moment of tense anticipation. Awei, feeling a surge of anxiety, mutters to himself, "Do you want me to capture myself?" The absurdity of the request and the potential implications for his hidden identity weigh heavily on his mind.